Welcome to the third episode of Life Epistles. Today's topic is the various worlds and how human beings are linked. This information we are about to provide is based on the Western wisdom teachings, otherwise called Esoteric Christianity. It is different from Eastern teachings, even though there may be some similarities in expression. Our focus on this channel is esoteric or spiritual Christianity. That is where our focus is. And this is against perspectives of the ordinary person, of the popular Christian or religious person, or the materialistic or scientific person. We are talking about esoteric teachings, especially the Western wisdom teachings. We are not talking about the ordinary person or the religious person or the materialistic or scientific person, because they do not share in the perspectives from which the esoteric Christian brings to you this teaching we are about to give. We have values on our platform. One is not to indoctrinate anybody. Listen to us. Pick what you can pick. If you have the opportunity to even challenge us, we welcome that. But in doing so, we only pray that you are well informed on the subject matter. At our end, we will do our best not to be biased in our presentation. And we hope that the information we are about to provide will enable you to live your life better and also to offer selfless service to others. My name is Seddoh Bokor. Let's get started. We begin with a self-test where we ask the question, do you know that aside the physical world, there are other worlds? If your answer is yes, let me further ask you, how many are those worlds? Then, are those worlds subject to the law of gravity, the law of distance, or the law of time? Mark yourself. Nobody is going to mark you by the end of this presentation. Once again, our topic is the various worlds and how human beings are linked. In episode 2, we talk about the various bodies of a human being. We mentioned that every human being has 4 material bodies and 3 spiritual aspects, making a total of 7. In case you haven't listened to that presentation, we will request you to kindly go and listen to it, because this presentation is a follow-up on the previous one. Now, there are many people in this world. The population is close to 8 billion. But out of that number, just a few know that the physical world in which we live is not the only world, that there are other worlds. Actually, there are 7 worlds in which the spirit lives, exists, and functions. The last is the one that we are seeing. Now, those who are Christians, you may not even be a Christian, you can open to 1 Corinthians chapter 15, and there you will have an inclination into the various worlds that there are. The physical world is not the only one. Now, I mentioned that there are 7 worlds. Indeed, there are 7 worlds. From the world of God all the way to the physical world. There is the world of God, the world of virgin spirits, the world of divine spirit, the world of life spirit, the world of thought, the desire world, and the last one, the physical world, where we find ourselves. When we talk about worlds, all that we are referring to is a state of matter. And matter, we know the smallest particle is atoms. So we are talking about aggregation of atoms in different areas. All these worlds that we mentioned, 7, they are interlinked. They are not layers one after the other. They are all interlinked. So whatever is happening in one world is affecting another world. The worlds are not arbitrarily separated. They are composed of atoms of different density, of different vibration. It is as a result of this different atoms combination that is why we have the worlds as 7. In each world, there are 7 subdivisions. In each of the 7 worlds, there are 7 subdivisions, and we'll be looking at them. Each world has its own laws and is populated by beings who have body to live in that world. So for any being to live in any of these worlds, the being must have a body suitable to live in that world. We as human beings, we have from the world of God to the last one, which is the physical world. Our spirits have journeyed and are connected all the way from the world of God through to the last one, which is the physical body. That is what is distinct about human beings. Now, let us begin with the physical world. We know of the physical world. That is where we are. And it is a world composed of the densest atom. Of all these 7 worlds that we mentioned, the physical world has the densest, the heaviest, if I should put it that way, of the atoms. And the matter of this physical world is subject to certain laws, that of gravity, that of time, that of distance, that of contraction, that of expansion. And actually, matter in the physical world doesn't move until external force is applied. Similarly, when matter in the physical world is moving, external force can be applied to stop its movement and make it stand still. That is how the physical world is. In fact, in science, we talk about this as three-dimensional, and it is true. And there is also linear relationship. We move from one point to the other point. And we use our 5 senses in the physical world. The 5 senses that we have, we use them basically in the physical world. It applies only to the physical world. Now, what are the 7 subdivisions of the physical world? We have the solid, we have the liquid, and then we have the gas. And beyond that, we have 4 ethers. So if you add 4 to 3, then we have 7. Ether is also part of the physical world, except that it is lighter than air, but it forms part of the physical world. So, if that is the situation with the physical world, we'll further go down now and see some other descriptions. Now, the liquid, the gas, and the solids, they compose what we call the chemical region of the physical world. Solid, liquid, gas. The 3 compose what we call the chemical region of the physical world. And those 3 things are the basis for all dense things that we see. All materialized things that we see is as a result of the presence of solid, liquid, and gas. The three form what we call the chemical region of this earth planet. And indeed, those who like to go to the Bible, you can pick from Genesis 2:7. Genesis chapter 2, verse 7, where a description is given. Similarly, Genesis chapter 3, verse 19, yet a description is given to show that all that there is physically is a combination of solid, liquid, and gas. Now, beyond the chemical region of the physical world, we have what we call the etheric region. The etheric region is made up of ethers of various composition. They are not uniform. The ethers are not uniform, just as solid, liquid, and gas are also not uniform. We have 4 types of the ethers. Now, the 4 types of the ethers are, first, the chemical ether. Second, the life ether. Third, the light ether. And fourth, the reflecting ether. They are the ones that compose the etheric region of the physical world. What does the chemical ether do? It is in charge or responsible or a means for which assimilation and excretion takes place. So, in the chemical ether, we have 2 forces working there. One is for assimilation and the other for excretion. The one that works in respect of assimilation is the positive part of the chemical ether. The one that works for elimination of waste, excretion, is the negative part of the chemical ether. But when we talk about positive and negative, we are not saying good or bad. No, it has nothing to do at all with that. It's like electrical wires where you have the negative, you have the positive, but you need to join them to have an effect. That is all that we are talking about. They are about qualities. Now, when we look at the chemical ether, which we said is responsible for the maintenance of the physical body or the forms. Now, what it does is independent of our own will or voluntary activity. It is more or less involuntary. It is something that happens to the body without us having any control over it. For instance, when digestion, assimilation, excretion is taking place, it is not as a result of our own effort. It's something that happens naturally. It is as a result of the chemical ether working on our body and in our body as well. Now, after the chemical ether, we have the life ether. The life ether is responsible for propagation. Propagation in order to maintain the species. It contains forces. And those forces are also positive and negative. As I said earlier on, when we say positive or we say negative, it does not mean good or bad. They are just descriptive of the activities that is conducted. Now, the forces that work on the positive side of the life ether are responsible for birth of human beings. From conception all the way to birth is the positive aspect of the life ether that does that job. For men, the production of semen is as a result of the negative aspect, the negative pole of the life eater. Actually, this issue of gender, this issue of sex, male or female, is as a result of the activities of the life eater. Positive side of the life eater leads to male. Negative side of the life eater leads to female. That is the way the life eater works. Beyond the life eater, we have the light eater. The light eater is actually responsible for the generation of heat in our body. The warm blood that we have is from the light eater. Similarly, forces that work in the negative part of the light eater are responsible for our senses, that of hearing, that for seeing, that for feeling and all that. Is as a result of the work of the forces that operate on the negative pole of the light eater. How about the positive pole I mentioned already, responsible for the generation of the warm blood that we have? Similarly, for trees, the sap or the juices that move in them is a result of the work of the positive aspect of the light eater. And then the green aspect of the plants that we see is as a result of work of the forces in the negative pole of the light eater. Actually, all colors that we see is as a result of what is happening in the light eater, especially the negative part. The last of the eaters we're talking about is the reflecting eater. That is the fourth eater. And this eater is very, very important. In it, we have the pictures of all that everybody has done on earth. Everything that we do is recorded or it is reflected in the reflecting eater. Our thoughts, our actions are all recorded in the reflecting eater. It is the seat of our memory. But what happens in the reflecting eater is actually a reflection of the bigger record in another part, which we'll be talking about very soon. Where that record is, we call it memory of nature. So the reflecting eater reflects the records that are kept in the memory of nature. So, reading records in the reflecting eater is not conclusive. It is limited. The best way to read records of individuals and even the earth as to what has happened in the past and what is happening is to go to the memory of nature, but not to be reading from the reflecting eater. Now, as we said, the reflecting eater has records of all the things that we do. It also has this capacity or ability to impress upon our brain so that we can think. And that aspect is connected with the mind, which we'll be looking at into details. The etheric region, as we said earlier on, the four ethers make what we call the etheric region. It extends beyond the surface of this Earth planet into the atmosphere. So we are actually living in the etheric region, even though we have the physical body. So the physical world, more or less, as said already, is made up of two parts. One has to do with the etheric region, as we have just talked about, and the other one has to do with the concrete aspect, where we have the solid, the gas, and the liquid, the chemical aspect. That is how it works with the physical world. So these are the 7 subdivisions of the physical world. Who and who live in the physical world, especially in the etheric realm? Who and who live in the etheric realm, the region of ethers? We have forces of plants or vegetation. We have the forces there. We also have that for animals. Their forces are there. And that of human beings, we ourselves, our forces are there. Same as angels. Angels also operate in the etheric region. And then the fallen angels, they also operate in the etheric realm. And then elementals, they also have the capacity to function in the etheric region. And let's not forget, people who died not too long ago, a week or two, a month, 40 days going, they also operate in the etheric region. So these are examples of those who operate in the etheric region. Now, the physical world, made up of the chemical region and the etheric region, these two worlds are connected to this Earth planet. The two, chemical region and etheric region, which make the physical world, are connected to this Earth planet. So we have the drawing of this, where we have the physical world broken down into two. We have the 3 lower ones, which make up the chemical region. We have the 4 higher ones, which make up the etheric region. So 2 broad divisions in the physical world, etheric region and chemical region. That is the world. And this is the last of the 7 worlds. I said the atoms over here are the densest. They are the densest. The atoms in the etheric region are lighter than the atoms in the chemical region. The vibration of the atoms in the etheric region is more than that of the chemical region. Okay. After the physical world, where we operate and are very conscious, we move to the next world, which is the desire world. The desire world also had 7 subdivisions, except that it doesn't have 2 broad categories, unlike the physical world. The desire world, the atoms over there are lighter than that of the physical world. That's the chemical region and the etheric region. The atoms in the desire world are lighter than them. As a result of that, the desire world permeates the physical world. Because the atoms are lighter, they permeate the physical world. And their rate of vibration is faster than that of the physical world. There is no heat nor cold in the desire world. It's an area of color. The colors that we see, they come from the desire world. And over there is no strict separation between an object and its force, matter and its force. Matter and force are so joined that it's a bit challenging trying to divorce one from the other. That is the situation in the desire world, unlike the physical world, where matter is separate from its force. So it means matter can behave in any way in the desire world. It can levitate and gravitate easily because the law of gravitation does not apply in the desire world. Similarly, there is no contraction, there is no expansion, there is no issue of time or distance in the desire world. No. And that is in contrast with the physical world. Now, who populate the desire world? We don't have the forces of plants in the desire world. No. But we have the forces of the desires of animals in the desire world. That of human beings as well. Angels, fallen angels, elementals, demons, dead people, archangels, and many others, they all populate the desire world. So just as the chemical region, just trying to go back again, just as the chemical region of the physical world is where form is, just as the etheric region is where the vitality for those forces are. In the desire world, that is where the incentive for those forces to take action, to move in one direction or the other, comes from. The desire world does that. So the desire world provides the incentive for action. All right. Having said so, let us once again look at how forms behave. The forms that are created in the desire world is based on the desires of people. Your desire creates the form. It's not that the form is living there by itself. The form in the desire world is as a result of the creation of humanity and others based on the type of desires that they have. Now, the desires that we have, is it a good one or a bad one? If it is a good one, it has a place to go. If it is a bad one, it has another place to go. So, the difference here in terms of human beings and the desires that we generate as against animals is that animals don't have higher desires of lofty ideas, which is one area of the desire world. Animals don't have that. They have desires for low things. Human beings have desires for low and higher things. So the difference is that whereas human beings can operate at the higher area of the desire world, animals cannot operate over there because they do not extend to that region of the desire world. Now, two forces operate in the desire world. Two very, very important forces operate there. One is the force of attraction, and the other is the force of repulsion. I try to use the animals as an example. Now, human beings have these two forces. The desire world has these forces. The force of attraction brings everything, anything that we generate, any desire that we generate, good or bad, is attracted. It is either taken to the higher area of the desire world or taken downwards to the lower area of the desire world. I said earlier on, the desire world has 7 regions. 3 lower ones, 3 higher ones, and then we have a middle belt. We'll look at all this into details very soon. Now, the 3 higher ones are areas for lofty ideas and service, whereas the 3 lower ones are areas of debased desires, which are actually against the laws of nature, for which the spirit will have to pay. So, if that is the situation, then what does the force of repulsion and that of attraction do? Repulsion, the force for repulsion, occupies the lower area of the desire world, and the force for attraction occupies the higher area of the desire world. Now, be it higher or lower, there is always an interest or indifference to any impression that we have. For instance, if somebody insults you, somebody may say, oh, I will not mind him. The person is indifferent to that insult. Another person will not be indifferent. Another person will feel the pain of that insult and would like to take vengeance. The vengeance that the person wants to take comes as a result of attraction. But vengeance belongs to the lower aspect of the desire world. So that desire, instead of going to the higher aspect of the desire world, we descend to the lower world or aspect of the desire world. In that direction, the force of repulsion will work against that desire. The force of repulsion, what it does is that any two things that are not the same in their vibration, it destroys them. We'll look at it into details very soon. So, having felt that vengeance, God has made it such that it will not go to the higher region of the desire world, but it will descend to the lower region of the desire world, so that action can be taken against it. Now, what is interesting is that every desire that we have, which generates forms in the desire world, every form wants to attract to itself a similar one. For instance, if you tell a lie, the first time that the incident happens, the record is there. So if you want to speak and you are telling a lie, you will generate a form. The form that you generate will be in the semblance of the first incident. But as the account you are giving does not have the same vibration as the form that is created, the force of repulsion will work against it in order to destroy it. That is the way nature has done it, so that we don't multiply so much in our evil ways, but that evil will be toned down. But repetition of the same old thing will, with time, make it bigger, worse, or better. So it is good for us to look for the positive in everything. If we look at the positive thing in everything, we have the opportunity to more or less destroy the negative form that we have built, because we'll be generating new forms that will go and negate the negative ones that we initially built. Now, the force of attraction, as I said earlier on, is in the three higher worlds of the desire world. Now, the forces, as we said, repulsion, they actually disintegrate any lower desire so that they don't build upon one another and become too evil for humanity. Now, let us see this aspect, which I really want to talk about. The subdivisions now, because we said that there are 7 subdivisions of the desire world. The lowest of it is that of passion and sensual desires, desires for materiality. They occupy the lowest aspect of the desire world, and the force of repulsion is dominant in the lowest region of the desire world. But there is also presence of the force of attraction, but it is not as much as that of the force of repulsion. As said earlier on, desire for materiality, so much of it, passion and sensual desires, they occupy the lowest portion of the desire world. And what are those negative things we're talking about? Things of injustice, fraud, bearing false witness, covetousness, suicide, racism, to be vengeful, and to be so much materialistic. You are just going after the things of this world without any holds barred. Every time your thinking is all about material things, with little space to ponder over spiritual things. These things occupy the lowest aspect of the desire world. Witchcraft is part of it. Forgery is part of it. To be boastful, these all occupy the lowest region of the desire world. Now, after the lowest region, the next that follow is the region we call impressionability. There, pictures exist. What our five senses generate, it goes there more or less. But it goes without any feelings attached to it. But the pictures are over there, the impressions that are made on us. It's a neutral area. Now, the third region of the desire world is where we have wishes. By the time we get to the area of wishes, the force of attraction has built up sufficiently to counteract and overpower the force of repulsion. But the wishes that we have, it is at the lower end of the desire world because a lot of the wishes we have is all about selfishness. Ourselves, not others. Selfishness. So, beyond the third area, which is the region of wishes, we now move to the fourth area, which is the region of feeling. And it is important we take note of this region. The fourth region is the region of feeling. That is where everything starts from. How you feel about something is what triggers the forces of attraction or repulsion. If you feel good about a situation and you want to help somebody, your interest is awoken. Once you have the feeling to help somebody, you have interest in the situation of that person. What interest do you have? The interest to help him. Immediately, the force of attraction will take that desire to the higher level of the desire world. You may have interest, but the interest is to laugh at the person. That is not a good one. So the force of repulsion will come in over here because your interest, the feeling that you have, which generated the interest, is not to actually help, but to worsen the situation, to laugh at the person. So that is taken to the downside of the desire world for the force of repulsion to work against it. So everything starts with our feeling towards an object or impression. If it is a positive one, we trigger the force of attraction to do good. If it is a negative one, the force of repulsion will work against it. So, whether interest or not, then we must know that we are leaving indifference to take over. If you are indifferent, nothing will happen at all. There will be no feeling that will be aroused. Now, whether you are positive in terms of your interest or not, it depends on the feeling that you have. Now, if you are not interested, even though you have the feeling, but you are not interested, it means you are indifferent. In such manner, you will not act at all. And that is what happens to indifference. It doesn't work on anything. It can be stored somewhere else in the desire world so that at another time it can be resurrected again to see how you respond to that situation. So indifference is different from repulsion. Indifference, you just don't care about it, so it doesn't awaken any force at all in you. Unlike repulsion, you have the interest, and the interest brings the attraction, but the attraction is a negative one. So repulsion comes to work against it. Now, we are talking about the desire world, and we have said that the desire world has 7 subdivisions, 3 lower ones and 3 higher ones. The middle one is the most important for now, in the sense that that is where we have feelings, how we feel towards an object or a situation. If it is a good feeling, interest comes in. Interest comes in. If you don't care at all, indifference comes in. But when interest comes in, what type of interest? Is it the interest that is to help others, or interest that is to laugh at them, to make the situation worse for them? If it is an interest that is to help others, the force of attraction takes it to the higher areas of the desire world. If it is to tease, not to help the person, the forces of repulsion works against that type of interest in the lower area of the desire world. So, what are the 3 areas? Because we talk about the first lower region of the desire world, we talk about the second, we talk about the third, and we talk about the fourth, which is feeling. The 3 ones that are up, we call them the upper region of the desire world. They are made up of the region of soul power, the region of soul light, and the region of soul life. These things build the spirit. The higher aspect of the desire world, they build the spirit. They strengthen the spirit to mature. And what are some of the things that we need to be doing in order to strengthen the spirit? We mentioned it in our previous episode, but once again, we'll go over it. Unconditional love. You love somebody for the essence that is in the person, the God that is in the person. You don't love the person because you expect the person to pay you back. The law of reciprocity doesn't work when we're talking about unconditional love. We're talking of transparency. We're talking about being fair to people, being peaceful, making peace among people. We're talking about compassion. We're talking about philanthropy. You are helping people because it is good to help them. Not that you are helping them for them to praise you. No. The higher aspect of the desire world thrives on forgiveness, humility, and spiritual things. Thinking and doing that which is spiritual by helping others. Accountability is one of the most important things in the higher aspect of the desire world. You want to account to people how you have used their resources, even your own resources. It is good to account to your family how you have expended them. These things happen and they are attracted to the higher aspect, the higher region of the desire world. And that is what builds the spirit. That is what makes it to become more matured. You are caring and you want to share what you have with others without any condition. You are not discriminatory. You don't discriminate that this one belongs to my tribe, this one doesn't belong to my tribe. No. You see the God essence in everybody. That is for the higher aspect of the desire world. You are truthful. You speak the truth. You don't tell a lie. Telling a lie belongs to the lower region of the desire world, and that doesn't add any value to the spirit. It is rather pain to the spirit, because the spirit will have to pay for it at the right time. When you speak the truth, you are strengthening your spirit, because you are now operating at the higher aspect, the higher level of the desire world. In summary, the desire world permeates the physical world, because the atoms over there are lighter than that of the physical world. In fact, it extends all the way to the moon that we see, and somewhere towards Mars, our next planet. The desire world that we have, which is for this Earth planet, extends that far. And we human beings too, it extends a bit in terms of our body. Now, there is no human being who is so bad that no good cannot be found in that person. We have some amount of the higher aspects of the desire world in us. So once again, we have a depiction of the desire world here. We can see that under the desire world, we have the soul power, we have the soul light, and we have the soul life. They are the higher aspects. And feeling is the middle bit. Under the feeling, we can have that of wishes, impressionability, and passion and sensual desires. Passion and sensual desires, that's the lowest. So if we devote ourselves to things like that, it is important we know we are operating at the lowest level of the desire world. As you can see here, there is an arrow starting from feeling that generates interest. And interest, we have two arrows. One is going downwards towards the lower region where we have the force of repulsion. Those things are not good enough to promote the maturation of the spirit. So the force of repulsion works against it. It is pain. It is pain to the spirit. And we'll see this and how it works when we come to talk about death and purgatory. And we'll see the pain that the spirit has to go through in order to get rid of these attachments that it has carried based on the work that it has done in this physical body. But if you see the higher aspects, if you look at interest, we have the force of attraction. And the force of attraction that builds the soul power, the soul light, and the soul life. And that goes to strengthening the spirit. In all, we have the high desires and we have the low desires. That is what is depicted in this drawing. But let me say, this, in the spiritual world, you don't have things like this. Everything is interlinked. So what happens in one affects the other. But because this is just a diagram, that's why we are making it look like this, so that we can have some understanding of it. Now, beyond the physical world, beyond the desire world, we move to the third world, which we call the world of thought. Once again, the atoms in the world of thought are lighter than that of the desire world and that of the physical world. So the atoms there, the matter over there, permeates the desire world and the physical world. So whatever is being done in one affects the other. The world of thought, like the physical world, is divided into two areas. The world of abstract thought, which is actually spiritual, and the world of concrete thought. In the world of abstract thought, That is where our ideas come from. The ideas are generated by the Spirit. And the world of concrete thought, that is where we do our thinking. I want to repeat this. The world of thought is higher than the physical world. It is higher than the desire world. And it is divided into two parts, like the physical world. It has a higher one, which is called the region of abstract thought. Then it has another one, which is called the region of concrete thought. The region of abstract thought, that is where our ideas come from. And the ideas are given thought. The thinking process takes place in the region of concrete thought. We will talk more about this when we give a lecture, a presentation on how the Spirit functions in our body. But for now, we'll just make it known like that. Now, the space that the world of thought occupies is more than the space that the desire world occupies. And the space that the desire world also occupies is more than what the physical world occupies. Because the lighter atoms have more rooms to operate than the denser or the heavier atoms. But these worlds, they are not built one after the other. They are all interlinked. We are on the world of thought. The vibration over there is no joke. The vibration of the atoms over there is no joke. And that is where we have tone, sound. That is the origin. Very advanced musicians pick their notes from there. The world of thought is a place of tone, whereas that of the desire world is for color. So, who are the occupants of the world of thought? Of course, human beings are occupants. Animals are not. The forces of animals do not extend to the world of thought. But human beings are. So you can see that human beings, we are featuring from the physical all the way to the desire, all to the way to the world of thought, unlike animals and plants. The occupants of the world of thought go beyond just human beings. We're talking about angels, they are also there. Fallen angels, they are also there. Demons, they are also there. Those who die, the deceased, they are also there. Archangels, they are also there. And what we call the lords of mind. The lords of mind. The mind that we have, we didn't just do it ourselves. There were entities that helped us to have it. They also operate there. And the laws of destiny. And there are more who all operate over there. So you can see that the world of thought is no joke. That is where everything begins. That is where everything begins. What I mean by that is that is where spirit meets with body. That is the formative area. When spirit reflects itself in form, in body. Now, the vibration, as I said over there, is very, very high. Very, very high. So, for you to operate consciously in the world of thought, you need to have a very high vibration. Now, in the desire world, what is interesting here is that you can see a form, and through a form that appears to you in the desire world, you can see that form, and through it. But you may not have that information about the form that appears to you, or the form that you are investigating. Unlike the world of thought. In the world of thought, of course, some people do it through meditation. The form tells you about itself. It gives information about itself. So you know exactly what form that is, who generated it, where it came from. You have all that information. So, now, what is also interesting about the desire world is that, as I said earlier on, that is the point at which spirit begins to clothe itself in matter. We need to take note of this particular world of thought. Of course, we have a session and we'll go deeper into it. But let us have it at the back of our mind that that is more or less the beginning of all form things that we see. And I will explain it very soon. Now, the explanation will be in the division of this world of thought. The explanation will come while I explain the divisions that we have. The world of thought has 7 divisions. 3 lower ones, even though I say lower, it is not like the physical or desire world. These are very high. 3 lower ones and 3 higher ones. And then we have a middle belt. Now, the lowest division in the world of thought, we call the continental region. The continental region. There, all the physical forms we see, all the chemical region that we talk about, that is where their archetypes are. The archetype, the original drawing of what we have that we can see physically, we can feel physically, the earth and the hard surface that we walk on, we ourselves, the original drawing, the archetype that created it is in the continental region of the world of thought. So over there, this earthy matter, plants, animals, and man, you find the archetype over there. When we talk about archetype, it is not like a model you find which doesn't have life. No. The archetype we are talking about here is a creative archetype. A creative archetype. It is the one that gave portion of itself for all that we see, including we ourselves to be. So all forms, all chemical matters, where they originate, their archetype is found in the continental region of the world of thought. The next that we can talk about is the vitality that the forms have to move. The archetype is called or can be found in the oceanic region. Oceanic region. That is where the archetype of the ethers can be found. So for any change to be done, it must first be done there and then it will have the effect physically. So the oceanic region is the second region of the world of thought. The oceanic region pulsates with life. The pulsating of life, vitality over there, is what gives life to all the things that we see. Their source, their origin is from the archetype. That vitality that is flowing in the oceanic region is to sustain all things that we see, all things that we feel. Without that vitality from the second region of the world of thought, nothing can have life. The third one, the third region of the world of thought, we call it the aerial region. The aerial region. This is the archetype of the world of desires. That is where the archetype is. So the passions, the wishes, the feelings, all those things that we have, our emotions, the archetype is built in the area region of the world of thought. In fact, in this area region of the world of thought, we have the real picture of all our emotions on earth. It gathers over there like an atmospheric conditions. All our emotions, they gather over there as pictures. It means nothing is taken for granted. Now, the fourth region, we call it the region of archetypal forces. We talk about the three lower regions of the world of thought: continental, oceanic, and area. And we link them to form, vitality, and desires. These three have their source in the region of archetypal forces. That is actually the fourth division of the world of thought. And this fourth division is the most important of all the regions. The fourth division in the world of thought, which is actually the mind, is the most important because that is the region where spirit reflects itself in form. Beyond this region, it is pure spirit. The spirit is beyond the mind. The spirit only uses the mind to gather knowledge and information about the material world, comprising the physical, the vital, the desire. But beyond the mind, the spirit itself lives. And the region where spirit reflects itself in matter, we call it the region of archetypal forces. So, if that is the case, we should then know the importance of this fourth region. Above that fourth region, we have the three higher aspects of the spirit. And below that region, we have the three lower aspects of the spirit. So, the fourth region, which is the mind, is a focusing point for the spirit, where it reflects itself in matter. That is the way the spirit links up with matter. Without the mind, the spirit will not be in a position to link up with matter. That is why the mind is very, very important, and we need to develop it. Now, the matter that we talk about for the lower sides of the world of thought, the continental, the oceanic, and the area, the higher aspect of the spirit reflects itself in them. And there are three higher aspects of the spirit in the world of thought. We have it as germinal ones, and I may not have to go so much into details. I will talk more about this in our next presentation, where the spirit is working without the mind, but working such that it can give that incentive to activate the lower aspects of the world of thought, which is the concrete mind. So we have a drawing here, which we hope can inform what we are talking about here. This is the world of thought. You can see its 7 areas of division, but it is classified in 2 major areas. The higher one we call the world of abstract thought, or the region of abstract thought. And then the lower one, the region of concrete thought. The archetypal forces link up with the mind. As said earlier on, our desires, vitality, and the form that we have, the forces that operate in the archetypal area is what makes those things work. Without the archetypal areas, there is no way the forces or the archetypes for the desire, for the vitality, for the forms will work. They all draw their strength from the fourth region. Now, beyond the archetypal forces, you can see the three higher areas. Once again, this is spirit. There are no forms where we have the Gemini idea of forms, where we have the Gemini idea of vital life, where we have the Gemini idea of desires and emotions. Over there, there is actually nothing that we can talk about as form, concrete things. It is pure spirit. Spirit generating its ideas towards the concrete area. And then the three higher aspects, the world of thought or the world of abstract thought. The three higher aspects, the world of abstract thought or the region of abstract thought. But it is best expressed as the region of abstract thought. So, the three higher aspects, the region of abstract thought, they constitute the human spirit, which is the third aspect of the spirit. The spirit has three aspects. The human spirit is the third aspect, and we find it as linked more or less to the mind. So activation of the abstract mind means that you are functioning using the third aspect of the spirit. Mathematics, logic, philosophy, computer science, things that we do without feeling coming into it. They are the things that bring us closer to the abstract thought. The things that are devised around our senses, what we see, what we feel, is all about concrete thought. They don't really go into improving our mind. And our job also is to improve our mind by thinking more in the abstract so that we can bring inventions, new things. So, the world of thought divided into two. The higher aspect, we call it the human spirit aspect. The region of abstract thought is where the human spirit aspect functions for the human being. In the human being is a very important aspect of the spirit. Now, aside the region of abstract thought, it is where the third aspect of the spirit is, the human spirit. And then we have talked about that area containing only the Gemini ideas. Gemini ideas generated by the spirit itself. That for our desires, that for vitality, and that for form. They are all generated by the spirit over there. It is from there that they go through the fourth region, archetypal forces. Then we can begin to think. That's why you say, I have an idea. Then they begin to think about the idea that they have. That is the way it works. If you are functioning well in the region of abstract thought, you have innovation, you have creativity. New ideas keep coming to you. This is coming from the spirit. So when it comes to you, it's the spirit that is generating it in the region of abstract thought so that you can give thought to it. Then you can implement it until it takes concrete form. That is the way the spirit works in the physical world. Beyond the world of thought, beyond the region of abstract thought, we now move to the world of life spirit. The world of life spirit It also has 7 regions. As I said earlier on, all the worlds have 7 regions. But we may not talk much about the world of light spirit now, because as we can see, even with the world of concrete thought, it is getting abstract, because we are now moving away from the realm of form into the realm of the spirit. The world of light spirit, as I said, has 7 subdivisions. It is above the world of thought. And it is where the second aspect of the spirit is. The third aspect of the spirit, we said, is the human spirit, and that is the region of abstract thought. The second aspect is the world of life spirit. From the world of life spirit, we move to the world of divine spirit. It's a world by itself. And that is the highest principle, the higher aspect of the spirit in every human being. The highest aspect of the spirit is located in the world of divine spirit. All these worlds are specialized by the earth planet. And we as human beings also specialize it within the earth planet. We'll be looking at it very soon. Beyond the world of divine spirit, we now move to the world of virgin spirits. There, you are talking about spirits that are yet to be differentiated, not yet to be differentiated. They have been differentiated, but they have not individualized. Their aspects have not been awoken. They have been differentiated in God, but they are yet to begin the journey of taking on form and to become conscious. We'll look at the journey of the spirit and we'll speak more to this issue. But what we need to know is that we have the world of virgin spirits. And then the world of virgin spirits. After it, we have the world of God, where our Creator, where God dwells. It also has 7 regions. And we are talking about the architect of all that there is. So, all these things are built into man. And these worlds, they are not built one after the other. They are all interwoven. So, whatever is being done in one world affects all other worlds. So, how are the bodies of a human being linked to these worlds? Because in our episode 2, we talk about the various bodies of a human being. Now, in episode 3, we are talking about the various worlds. How are they connected? This drawing will give us an idea of how every human being is connected to these worlds. Human beings have bodies for all these worlds. The physical world, we use this chemical body, the body that we have now, consisting of solid, liquid, and gas. We use it. As I speak right now, we all listen to it. We are all operating with the chemical body and operating in the chemical area of the physical world. That is out. So we have this body that links up to the chemical region of the physical world. And then we have the etheric world, and we are linked to it by our vital body. We have the desire world, and we are linked to it by the desire body. We have the world of thought, and we are linked to it by the mental body or the mind. But there is a higher aspect of the world of thought, which is the abstract world or the abstract region. There we are linked more by the human spirit. Then we have the world of light spirit, and we are linked by our life spirit aspect in us. We have the world of divine spirit. We are linked by the divine spirit aspect in us. This is the catchword. Our journey to become perfect is from the world of God to the physical world, and we are going back to God. This journey spans through the physical world, the etheric world, the desire world, the world of thought, the world of life spirit, and ends at the world of divine spirit. So our spirit is journeying in these 5 worlds back to God. But at the moment, what is being activated is the first 3 worlds, especially the region of abstract thought. That is where emphasis is. It doesn't mean that when we are doing one thing, it is not affecting the other ones. It is affecting the other ones as well, but it is only an area of emphasis. So we are journeying in 5 worlds. The world of virgin spirit, we are being assimilated back into God. We are then in God. And when we get to the world of God, we become one. We are perfect. We become one. So there is no individuality, more or less, when we get through the world of virgin spirit and the world of God. But we are journeying from the world of divine spirit all the way to the light spirit, to the world of thought, to the desire world, to the etheric world, and then to the physical world. These are the worlds, and this is how we are connected to them. Now, let us talk a bit about the planets. Because these worlds that we talk about, the planets first specialize them. And we are living on the planets. So there is a connection between our individual bodies and the planets. Now, the life spirit binds all the planets in the solar system as one. So for somebody to travel consciously from one planet to another, the person must be conscious in the life spirit. If the person is not conscious, the person can never levitate to that place. For instance, to travel spiritually and consciously to Mercury, Venus, Mars, or whatever planet, you need to develop your life spirit aspect. To travel from one solar system to another solar system, the life spirit aspect cannot take you there. It is the divine spirit aspect that can take you from one solar system to another solar system. Now, the planets themselves, as we see, are mighty spirits who have crystallized their bodies for our sake. Just as we have over 36 trillion cells in our body, it's a similar thing for the planets. Our Earth planet, for instance, specialize all these worlds that we have talked about. It means you need to develop them first here on this Earth planet. In fact, if you look at Revelations 1:4, it references the 7 spirits before the throne of God in reference to the 7 planets that are contained in our solar system. We are talking about esoteric things, not scientific things. So do not just say, hey, but the planets are 8, they are 9, they are this. No. Spiritually, esoterically, we have 7 planets, the spirits that crystallize themselves to host beings on them. As I said, the Earth planet is a mighty spirit. It has all spiritual bodies and physical body. It's a physical body that we move on, we do all that we do. But it has other bodies. For instance, the etheric region extends a bit beyond the periphery of this earth planet. Similarly, the desired body also extends just as it does with a human being. The difference over here is that we human beings specialize these worlds around ourselves. Unlike animals, they haven't specialized yet. But time will come, they will also specialize. Just as we will also move on to become like angels. These worlds are not separated one from the other. They are all intertwined. So whatever is being done in one world affects all others. And the worlds have not been created in a 24-hour period. No. It took billions of years, but they are classified as periods. Hence, we have them created one after the other. They were not all created at the same time. The higher ones are created first before the lower ones. The higher ones emanate the lower ones. That is to say, the lower ones come out of the higher ones. The atoms over there begin to take on some level of density, and with time, they form a separate world by themselves. Now, it is God. All these worlds are contained eventually in God. These worlds are not outside of God. Some people say the Creator. That is fine. They are all within God. So let nobody think that the worlds are outside of God. They are actually the physical manifestation of God. Now, just as they were created one after the other, at the end they will also be dissolved one after the other, with the lowest going first before the highest. So, having talked about the various worlds, I would like us to bear in mind that we have bodies that link us to these worlds. Let us know how to use these bodies. And our presentation with time will be talking about how we can use these bodies positively within these worlds to promote not only our spiritual development, but that of others. When we think of spiritual development, it is helping others that promotes it. So the worlds, they are real. If you have the eyes, you see them. Just as we use the five senses to see the physical world. Friends, we have talked at length about the various worlds. There is a lot more to talk about. How did the Spirit begin its journey from God through these worlds? That is the next thing we are going to talk about, so that we will know that the body that we have here is the form side of the Spirit, and that it has taken billions of years to journey to be here. I thank you very much for sharing this moment with us. We're hoping that you join us again when we meet the next time. Thank you very much.